So we are a week into the summer transfer window and it all seems to be going a little bit wrong for AFC Bournemouth. Dean Howson has left to become a Galactico. He joined Real Madrid before the window had even opened, and now his centre-back partner Agirrezabala is linked to Champions League winners PSG. Left-back Milos Kerkez is also looking set to join Premier League champions Liverpool, and another member of Andoni Iraola's highly successful back line will not be returning for next season, that being Kepa. So Kepa has just had a great season for Bournemouth, keeping 8 clean sheets in 31 Premier League games. However, now he looks set to become the backup for fellow Spaniard David Raya next season under Mikel Arteta. It's a funny deal where Kepa sort of revived his career at Bournemouth with a little bit of scepticism about a loan to the Cherries. However, now he looks to be settling for a number 2 spot despite interest from all around Europe. So we do know that Bournemouth made approaches to try and keep Kepa at the club. A £5 million release clause was there. However, he obviously looks set to join Arsenal. Bournemouth also were interested in Kelleher from Liverpool. However, again, he has decided to go elsewhere, signing for Brentford after they lost Mark Flecken to Bayer Leverkusen. So with this in mind, it is worth looking at how the Bournemouth goalkeeping department could shape up next season. Will Dennis is of course at the club. He's under contract until 2028. Callum McKenna is here too, a young talented Scottish goalkeeper, currently getting some great experience training with the Scottish national team. Alex Poulsen will be returning from a tremendous loan spell at Auckland. Neto is also coming back to the club along with Mark Travers. Both have spent their time at Arsenal and Middlesbrough respectively. Travers being a 6-month loan. However, he also has received interest from Birmingham, Neto from Gremio, and Alex Poulsen is also on a list of potential targets at St Mirren. Therefore, it is worth looking at who Bournemouth could bring in to be their new number 1. I've tried to narrow it down to 3 options, and 3 options which I think could be realistic, both from a player ambition view and a financial one. So the first goalkeeper I'd like to talk about is Yean Duf. Duf recently made his debut for Senegal just last night at time of recording. Duf is under contract until 2027 and could be available for around £15 million. And here are the reasons that I think he could be a good fit at Bournemouth. So amongst under 25 goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues, Duf sits second for goals prevented per 90. He also has faced the 4th most amount of shots for under 25 goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues, averaging 4.93, and also has made the 2nd most amount of saves per 90 for under 25 goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues, 3.67. He obviously got relegated with Reims and likely to leave as a result. Duf also has some of the best post-shot expected goal numbers in Europe, 1.81, therefore it could make him a really solid option for Bournemouth. The second name I'm going to suggest is Noah Atabolu. He's just 23 years old. He's been smashing it in the Bundesliga for Freiburg. He also has a pretty tremendous stat where he has saved all 4 of the last 4 penalties he has faced, one of those being to Liverpool-bound Florian Wirtz. Atabolu is a current Germany youth international, also coming through the Freiburg Academy, and there are a few reasons I think he could be a really good option for Bournemouth in this summer window. Atabolu has 10 clean sheets in 26 games. That's a 38.5% clean sheet percentage. He, on average, makes 33.2 passes per 90 and a 74.5% completion rate. He is probably, out of the 3 I'm going to suggest, the goalkeeper that's best with his feet. Of course, that's something in modern goalkeeping which is so useful and could be really valued under Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. Another interesting stat which really showcases his dynamism as a goalkeeper is the fact that he receives on average 26.6 passes per match. That it is a stark comparison compared to Kepa's 15.7. Therefore, it seems that his defenders seem to trust him a bit more to really execute those passes and become a real member of the attacking unit as well as the defensive one. Atabolu also sits 3rd amongst under 25 goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues for passes into the final third, which could be really important with a player like Evan Nilsson up top making those clever runs in behind. Atabolu seems like the kind of goalkeeper that could pick out that kind of pass. Now, if Bournemouth were to come in and try and secure Atabolu's services, they wouldn't be alone. Galatasaray have also added him to a short list of potential goalkeeper signings. Julen Agirrezabala is a great option for Bournemouth as well. He has a similar career path to Kepa and a somewhat similar sounding name, which obviously doesn't really play too much of a part in Bournemouth's recruitment strategy. However, he does post some good stats and metrics along with a general player profile which could suit the South Coast style under Iraola. Agirrezabala has played a lot for Bilbao in recent seasons. He played a massive part in their winning of the Copa del Rey last season. He even saved a penalty in the shootout to help win Bilbao that title. However, he did only sign a contract extension last summer, that running until 2027. However, it is also reported that Bilbao have a 2-year additional option clause, which they could decide to activate. Agirrezabala is also really good with his feet. Again, as I mentioned, something extremely valuable in a modern day keeper. One thing that Bournemouth did struggle with last season was dealing with defensive set pieces. Agirrezabala could come in and help this immediately. So the 24-year-old goalkeeper stopped around 1.49 crosses per 90. That compared to Kepa's 0.71, so quite a stark difference there. However, they do mirror each other in terms of their sweeping nature. Agirrezabala has 1.27 outside the box defensive actions compared to Kepa's 1.74. One thing that might be something to worry about is that Agirrezabala actually leads Europe's top 5 leagues for goalkeepers in terms of fouls made, averaging 0.21 per match, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a goalkeeper it is, but it could also just come with the territory of being an eccentric sweeper keeper, so it might not be too much to worry about in actual fact. So there you have it. There are 3 names I think Bournemouth should consider to be the #1 goalkeeper next season. I'm looking for some feedback on this sort of content. I am new to it, so good advice is always welcome. Also, I'm looking to hear who you guys think should be the Bournemouth goalkeeper next season. There are some great names out there, so do let me know on that. With that being said, I do hope you enjoyed Up the Cherries.